If you want to hear an audiobook version of what you're reading today for the Odyssey Part 2, you're in the right place. I will give you the paper packet of this next time, but for today we'll look at books 14 to 17 on the PDF here. So if you want to have your own pulled up and highlighters ready to go for notability, we'll get started. Part 2, Background Knowledge. All of Part 1 can be considered a flashback. Odysseus was telling the stories of his adventures to a king he met during the journey home. Odysseus has been all alone since Zeus destroyed his ship and the crewmen died. The king listened to the stories and offered to help Odysseus get home to Ithaca. The king's crew rows Odysseus home to Ithaca. When he arrives at Ithaca, Odysseus does not recognize his home, but the goddess Athena appears to tell Odysseus that he truly has made it home. Since Odysseus has been gone for 20 years, many suitors, eligible men, have tried to win his wife Penelope's heart. Athena uses her magic to disguise Odysseus as an old man so that he can return home and surprise the suitors. Meanwhile, Athena plans to appear to Odysseus' son, Telemachus, and tells him he should beware of the suitors because they wish to kill Telemachus. Athena tells Telemachus to spend the night at the hut of a swineherd friend named Eumaeus. The goddess also sends disguised Odysseus to the swineherd's hut, so the father and son will soon reunite. So a note on this page, think about, we know the word swine is like pig, so this is like a pig shepherd or a pig farmer that Telemachus and Odysseus are going to visit. Take a moment if you want to answer the questions for this page. That would be, why would it benefit the suitors for Telemachus to die? Go through and think about, why would they want Odysseus' son killed off? What does that do for them? And I would say that's probably a shocking events highlight, green, or characterization to show what the suitors want, orange. And there's two parts to that question. Why would it benefit the suitors for Telemachus to die? What can we assume about the suitors' characterization? Pause if you want to answer those and highlight. Moving on to Book 14, The Swineherd's Hut. Eumaeus the swineherd welcomes the disguised Odysseus. He throws his own bed cover over a pile of boughs as a seat for Odysseus, who does not reveal his identity. Observing Zeus's commandment to be kind to guests, Eumaeus slaughters a prime boar and serves it with bread and wine. Odysseus, true to his fame as a smooth-talking schemer, makes up an elaborate story about his origins. That night, the hero sleeps by the fire under the swineherd's spare cloak, while Eumaeus himself sleeps outside in the rain with his herd. You can pause and answer number 2 now. We have met Eumaeus. Number 2 asks you, describe Eumaeus the swineherd's characterization based on how he treats disguised Odysseus. So this is a characterization question, kind of trying to get a sense of this guy's personality, especially because Odysseus is disguised. Really shows us a lot about him, the way that he treats disguised Odysseus. Pause if you want to answer and highlight that one. On to Book 15, Eumaeus' Life. Athena summons Telemachus home and tells him how to avoid an ambush by the suitors. Meanwhile, back on Ithaca, Odysseus listens while the swineherd Eumaeus recounts the story of his life. Eumaeus was the child of a prosperous mainland king whose realm was visited by Phoenician traders. His nursemaid, a Phoenician herself, had been carried off by pirates as a girl and sold into slavery. In return for homeward passage with her countrymen, she kidnapped Eumaeus. He was bought by Odysseus' father, whose queen raised him as a member of the family. And that's it for book 15, pretty short. But number 3 is asking, how has the topic of deception and disguise been important in books 14 and 15? So kind of this whole page. Deception and disguise. Also asking about, how has the topic of loyalty also been important? That one a little bit has more to do with Eumaeus and kind of what we've seen of his personality. So think about, like, has Eumaeus been acting kind and loyal? Since these questions are about topics, you can do a blue highlight once you have found the answer to this and this. Pause if you need to reread or answer, or highlight. Book 16, Father and Son. Telemachus avoids the suitor's ambush and, following Athena's instructions, proceeds to the farmstead of Eumaeus. There, he makes the acquaintance of the disguised guest and sends Eumaeus to his mother to announce his safe return. Before he leaves, Eumaeus explains, "At home, indeed, your poor mother is, still in the women's hall. Her nights and days are filled with grieving and weeping." Athena restores Odysseus's normal appearance, enhancing it so Telemachus takes him to be a god. "No god am I," Odysseus assures him, "but your own father, returned after these 20 years. "You cannot be my father, Odysseus. Magic spirits must be trying to twist a knife in my heart and fool me. No man could transform, as you did, without the assistance of a god's craft. It is not princely to be swept away by your father's appearance. I assure you, no other Odysseus will ever come. He and I are one and the same. 20 years gone, but I am back again on my home island." Telemachus believes him, and the father and son fall into each other's arms, weeping with joy. Later, they plot the suitor's doom. Concerned that the odds are 50-1, Telemachus suggests they might need reinforcements. "Isn't the help of Zeus and Athena enough?" asks Odysseus. And that's all for book 16, Father and Son. There are several questions for this one, though, so I'll read through these questions. Number 4, how does Athena help Odysseus in book 16? So on this page, the follow-up question says, which element of an epic is this? This was something from our notes. If you go back and look at the chart of elements of an epic, you'll see that they are things like an unbelievable hero, a big setting, supernatural creatures, the narrator knows everything. So kind of the fact that Athena has helped Odysseus in this book, it's asking like which element of an epic, which like category from the notes does that fit? Number 5, how has Penelope, that's Telemachus's mother, been acting? So like in all the years that Odysseus has been gone, Telemachus has been searching for his father, how's she been acting? And then why is she like this? And finally, number 6, how is the topic of strategy and planning important to book 16? So again, from this whole page, there's been some strategy and planning kind of in the works. Since this is a topic question, check what color a topic highlight would be and find out where is that strategy and planning. Pause if you need to stop and answer those and highlight. And our final book today, book 17, Argos at the Gate. Telemachus returns to his home to see what the suitors have been doing, and Odysseus and Eumaeus follow. When Odysseus approaches his castle gate, an old hound lying near pricked up his ears, and lifted up his muzzle. This was Argos, trained as a puppy by Odysseus, but never taken on a hunt before his master sailed for Troy. The young men afterward hunted wild goats with him, and hare and deer, but he had grown old in his master's absence. Treated as rubbish now, he lay at last upon a mass of manure before the gates, manure of mules and cows, piled there until field hands could spread it on the king's estate. Abandoned there and half destroyed with flies, old Argos lay. But when he knew he heard Odysseus's voice nearby, he did his best to wag his tail, nose down, with flattened ears, having no strength to move near his master. As the man looked away, wiping a salt tear from his cheek, but he hid this from Eumaeus. Then he said, "I marvel that they leave this hound to lie here on the dung pile. He would have been a fine dog, from the look of him, though I can't say as to his power and speed when he was young. You find the same good build in house dogs, table dogs, that landowners keep all for style." Eumaeus explains that no one had cared for the dog in years. Without a master, he had been left with no owner, no training, and no care. Misery now keeps Argos company. Eumaeus and Odysseus walk away, and in that instant, the eyes of Argos close in darkness and death, after waiting for Master Odysseus for 20 years. Odysseus then enters his home as a beggar, and the suitors mock and abuse him. They refuse to give him food and throw footstools at him to cause him harm. Penelope asks to speak with the beggar, but Odysseus puts her off until nightfall, unsure of how to act naturally with the disguise. A moment of silence here for the goodest boy, Argos. Poor pup. We meet a dog and he leaves all in one page. Very sad. The questions here, number 7. How does the imagery on this page help us imagine Argos the dog? So notice this is an imagery literary device question. Definitely some details to help us picture Argos in a certain way. Number 8, write the text evidence that shows how Argos shows the topic of loyalty. They say dogs are loyal, and Argos definitely is one of those loyal dogs. So write the text evidence, and it says highlighted in blue too, since it is a topic question. And your final thing today, number 9, which of the following topics were important to Book 16? Circle the ones that apply. So in Book 16, was it loyalty, violence, resilience, deception and disguise, strategy and planning? There could be, I could see like 2 or 3 that fit pretty well. And then finally just explain like one of the topics, like why does that one fit Book 16? If you have done that, you have made it to what you need to finish today. Feel free to listen to this again, go back through, pause, and when you're done, you can just submit this PDF. Email me if you have questions, and have a fantastic e-learning day. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here again for more great Grammar Comp content.